Welcome back, tubers. As promised, we are going to take a look at how to actually trade in a live market and find these opportunities live so that you can actually trade some of these opportunities. In the previous, we talked about back testing and how it just doesn't work in the live market because of timing, trying to find the exact moment to actually get into a trade unless you have time to sit there and look at the monitor all day and go from stock to stock and see the opportunities developing. Some folks do have time to do that and some of us don't, so we're going to take a look at it. I know there's ways to scan to kind of narrow it down, but we're going to talk a little bit about some automatic trading and doing one auto trade at a time. And so I'm going to show you how to do that, and I'll probably do a separate video on just the using the auto trading in itself because it can get a little bit complicated, but I'm going to step through it here for you all. So let's say we see we've got an opportunity here. We are above the 200 and the MACD is crossing below the 0. So let's say we weren't able to see this and it passed us by, and we are taking a look at another opportunity and we're kind of watching. So we want to be able to get in right at that moment. So what we're going to do is let's say we're watching this on a live market and we want to have that opportunity. What I'm going to do is, let's say right here we wanted to add a automated auto trade so that it will actually trade when we have a cross below the 0 line. And this is how we're going to do it. If you right click, you're going to buy custom. So you're right clicking your mouse, buy custom, and you're going to do with OCO bracket. OCO means one cancels the other. So this is going to bring up this window here, and I'm going to show you a few things about the window that I do right away. The first thing I do is I want to do it by an amount. I don't want to do it by value. You know, it's just too hard to figure out, you know, the variance in stock prices and how many things that you're going to buy, how many lots you're going to buy or units you're going to buy. So I click on the little balls here. That's going to say 100% because it's percentage, and I'm going to click on it again, and that's actually going to give me a price. So depending on if I want to you know, usually what I'll do is I usually like to do 10,000. I don't want to do too much, but I want to do enough where it's kind of worth my while. So I'll do 10,000. The next thing I do is I click these balls again, and I want 100% here, and I want 100% there. So we're going to work left to right. All right, you still with me? Okay. The next thing I'm going to do is, since it is not, we are not buying after market hours, we can change this to a market order. Market order, I want to get the best price possible when my trigger is going. So I'm going to go market. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I want to set these up for selling automatically at 2% profit and or selling at minus 1% loss. So the way we're going to do that is I'm going to click the little lock here. I'm going to go over here to manual, and I am going to put it on trigger. The next thing I am going to do is I'm going to make this a little wider so you can see, is I'm going to click on the plus minus. That's going to bring the step. I don't want the step, I want the percent. So it's plus 1% right now. Now I'm going to go plus 2%. Same down here. Going to go to trigger. And I am going to, it's already at minus 1. I want to keep clicking until I'm at percent. So I have it set right now to buy at market. And then it's going to do that. Once it does that, then the OCO, the one cancels the other, is going to take place. So if I have a 2% profit, it's going to sell at limit for 2% profit, and then it's going to cancel this one. And vice versa, if it drops 1% in value, it is going to sell it at a stop order, sell at 1%, and then it's going to cancel this one. So that's what the one cancels the other is. So now that's the first part of it. We're going left to right. You want to do how much you want to put in, the percent, or you can do it by you know, how many lots, but I just like to do it by percent. I want to know 100% or 100%. We can get into later at another time where you can sell like 50% and then and then sell 75 and then sell 100. You can kind of step it that way, but we're just going to do the basic here. Okay, so everything is set here. Now we have to set what is our trigger going to be. We want to go over here to the little wheel here, and I'm going to right click, not left click, but right click, and I am going to, oops, didn't work. All right, let's try this again. Excuse me, left click, not right click. Too much left click and right clicking going on here. So left click, which is your normal click right there on the gear. Let's try that again. All right, now what we are going to do is if you click in here, I know it's blank, the symbol is going to come up from what we just, what we're buying, any. And the method, if you click on the method, we want to go to study, and then we want to edit the study. Okay. Now it's going to bring up a study for us, and we are going to edit this study, and I'll show you how we're going to do that. So the first thing is we are going to add condition. Excuse me, let's delete this first. We don't want to, it defaults to the simple moving average. We're just going to delete that. We're going to add condition, and what we're going to do is we're going to add a study, and the first study is going to be the MACD value. The value line crosses above. We're going to do study again, MACD, and it crosses above the average line. So we want that value line to cross above the average line. Going to save that. Now we are going to add another part of the study. So remember, we want the MAC value to cross above the MACD average, and we want it to be below the zero line. So what we can do is we can add another study, and I'm going to add the MACD, and we want the value just to keep it below the zero line. We can just say the value line is less than. I could go into MACD and put 0, but in my mind, if I just put the value as 0, that's less calculating that the program has to do. You could go into put MACD here, and then you could put 0 line, but in my mind, I'm thinking the less calculation the computer has to do, the easier it's going to be. And we want to, I'm going to show you this later, but well, actually, we better put it now. We're going to put offset 1, and I'll show you what that means here in a little bit. Actually, let's leave it at 0, and then I can show you what we're talking about as we look at the study. Okay. Now, so we're going to have the MACD value below 0 because we want that cross to be below the 0 line. Okay, so we've got the MACD value is going to cross the MACD average. That cross is going to be below the 0 line because we have it listed as the 0 line. So what's the third condition we want? We want the 200 moving average. We want it to be above the 200 moving average. The candles or the close to be above the 200 moving average. So that's our last condition. So I'm going to add condition. And what we're going to do is put, so we want it to be price. Whenever you think of price, think of candle. So we want the price close, so which is the candle close. So we've got close for price, which is the candle close. We want it to be greater than moving average exponential. Okay, and we want the length, which is the 200 EMA, and save. So what it has done down here, it's added the condition, and it's put, whenever that condition is right, it shows a buy signal here. Now let's add, just so we can kind of take a look, I'm going to right click, studies, edit study. I'm going to add the MACD here so we can see what it looks like. Okay, so there is the MACD. I'm going to zoom in, and here was the cross below. Oops. and here was the cross below the zero line. And you can see this would not have been a good trade. It looks like, let's see, so here, and yeah, that would have been, oh, wait a second, hold on. I forgot we are doing the 5 minute. I forgot to change this. So up here is the daily. We wanted to do the 5 minute. Now let's take a look at it. Okay, let's also add the 200 EMA. So I am right clicking in this area, studies. I'm going to edit studies, and let's add moving AVG exponential, and let's make that 200. Okay, so there we have the 200 EMA, and you can see that none of the signals below the 200, everything looks good. And I'm going to show you that last part about adding the one or not adding the one here in a minute. Let's just take a look here and let's zoom in. So there is our cross below the zero line. We're above the 200 EMA, and this would be a trade signal. And you want to remember a red candle starts from the top and a green candle will start from the bottom. So if I'm measuring, I'm going to start the red candle from the top, and this would have been a bad trade looking at it this way. Now, however, I want to show you what the one does, because what happens is, let me show you even more here. I want to edit the study. Let's put in the signal so you can kind of see the breakout signal here. Okay, so here is this, and here is the breakout signal. So what the +1 does is it will move this over, because this signal is actually, we are not taking the trade here. When you get the crossover of the MACD and you have the signal is actually telling you on the next candle to take the trade. And one of the biggest reasons, and this is very important, is because of repainting. And what I mean by repainting is this, if you're looking at it in a live market, this might cross, the arrow will come up, but then it might not cross again because the candle is constantly moving. You want to make sure the candle is formed and closed and you have a valid signal. So we do not want this repainting, and you see this arrow and then all of a sudden you take the trade here and then it repaints and this line is constantly moving up and down and all of a sudden it's below the line and you don't have a valid signal. We don't want that to happen, so you always take the trade after this candle is formed and then at the next candle. So in this case, that's what we're doing. And red candle, we start from the top and we move it down. Now let me see what we have here with the MACD. Do we have it at 1? No. Now watch if I change the offset to 1. See how it moved this over? Okay, so this is your buy signal. So we wanted to move it over because your buy signal, we do not want it to buy right here because the candle is still forming. We want it to buy on this candle, and so that's what it will do. It'll buy on this candle, and but in this case we saw that this was a loser, but this was just an example. So this wasn't an actual trade that we've taken yet. This is just showing you how this condition wizard will set up to take a buy automatically when these conditions are right. So you don't have to sit and watch the watch your monitor constantly. So now that we have this all set up, I'm going to click OK. And you can double check everything here. I usually don't pay attention to this because once I click save, I look at my original. If you want to look at the details of what you just did, you can look down here. So what we're going to do is we're going to wait until the following condition is satisfied. So any study MACD value, I don't know why it says any study, but it's, oh, any, A-N-Y, the symbol, excuse me. Study MACD value from 1 bar ago crosses above the MACD average from 1 bar ago, and the MACD value is less than 0, and close is greater than the moving average exponential 200, and 5 minutes is true. This order will sit in wait condition status during waiting. So everything looks fine. Click save. I double check here. on everything, and then I will click confirm and send. And it's after hours here. Let's see what this does. It'll probably still take after hours. It will just sit there. So if I click confirm and send, it'll give you another confirmation. Send. And that's exactly what it will do. So what it will do is, if you look at it, as the market is live, these will be moving up and down waiting for the signal. Once the signal hits, it will go into a buy mode. It'll buy, and then you'll have your stop limit and your limit if you make that 2%. So that is how that works. I'll go into a little bit more detail later, but generally that's how it works. So let me know if you have any questions.